Before New York, before Tokyo, before the neon-lit skylines of modern megacities, there was Rome, a city of ambition, a city of power, a city of over 1 million inhabitants. Rising proudly on the banks of the Tiber River, Rome was not merely a collection of streets and buildings. It was a marvel of human ingenuity. At its peak, over 2,000 years ago, Rome was the largest city in the world. Its streets teemed with merchants, craftsmen, politicians, slaves, and ordinary citizens. It was a city of contrasts, wealth and poverty, order and chaos, innovation and decay. Tonight, we journey back in time to explore Rome at its height, the daily life of its people, the scale of its population, and the infrastructure that made the city not just possible, but extraordinary. At the height of the Roman Empire, estimates suggest Rome's population exceeded 1 million people, a staggering number for the ancient world. To put it in perspective, no other city in Europe would reach such numbers for more than a millennium. The population was diverse. Citizens of Rome included native Romans, freedmen, immigrants from all corners of the empire, and a vast number of slaves. Each group had its role and place within the city's complex social structure. The city was organized but crowded. Multi-story apartment buildings, known as insulae, housed most of the urban population. These wooden and brick structures often rose 5 to 7 stories high, packed tightly along narrow streets. Life in the insulae was precarious. Fires were common, and the structural integrity of buildings was sometimes questionable. But for most residents, it was home. The wealthiest citizens lived in domus, private houses with courtyards, fountains, and multiple rooms. These homes were oases of calm in the bustling city. Meanwhile, the poor made do in the cramped insulae, relying on street markets, communal fountains, and public baths for daily necessities. Rome's sheer size created challenges. Sanitation, water supply, and transportation required careful planning. But the Romans were undeterred. They built a city capable of sustaining 1 million people, a true megacity by any standard. Morning in Rome began with noise. The clatter of carts on cobblestones, merchants shouting their wares, and children playing in the narrow alleyways. The streets were a sensory overload. Spices from India mingled with the scent of freshly baked bread, while the aroma of cooking oil and roasted meat drifted from small taverns. Markets overflowed with goods from across the empire. Wine from Gaul, olive oil from Hispania, fine silks from the East, and exotic spices from India and Africa. Citizens haggled, debated, and socialized, making commerce as much a cultural experience as an economic one. Public baths, or thermae, were more than places for hygiene. They were social hubs. Men and women, separately or in certain times, gathered to bathe, exercise, gossip, and conduct business. Bathing was a ritual, a daily opportunity for Romans to connect with their city and their community. Education played an important role, particularly for the elite. Children of wealthy families studied rhetoric, philosophy, and literature under private tutors, while commoners learned trades through apprenticeships. The streets themselves were living classrooms. Merchants, artisans, and politicians all contributed to the education of the populace by example. Entertainment was omnipresent. The Colosseum hosted gladiator games, wild animal hunts, and theatrical performances, drawing tens of thousands of spectators. Citizens of every social class attended, celebrating and witnessing the spectacle of Roman culture. Festivals, parades, and public ceremonies punctuated the city's calendar, creating a rhythm to life that was both civic and spiritual. To sustain such a massive population, Rome relied on extraordinary infrastructure. Fresh water was crucial, and the Romans mastered the art of aqueduct construction. Aqueducts carried millions of gallons of water each day from distant sources into the heart of the city. These stone channels, often spanning miles, supplied public fountains, private homes, baths, and latrines. The sound of flowing water became part of the urban soundtrack, signaling both life and Roman ingenuity. One of the most famous sewers, the Cloaca Maxima, drained excess water and waste from the streets into the Tiber River. It was an engineering marvel that kept the city surprisingly sanitary despite its size. Roads were equally important. Rome was connected by a network of streets and highways, not just within the city, but across the empire. Over 50,000 miles of roads linked Rome to distant provinces, facilitating trade, military movement, and communication. Urban planning was methodical. Markets, temples, administrative buildings, and entertainment venues were strategically located to manage flow and access. Concrete was a Roman innovation that enabled durable construction. Domes, arches, and massive buildings stood the test of time, a testament to their engineering genius. From the grandeur of temples to the functionality of apartment buildings, infrastructure was the backbone of Rome's daily life. The streets of Rome were alive with movement. Horse-drawn carts transported goods, while pedestrians filled every available space. Traffic was often chaotic, with narrow roads forcing a careful negotiation between traders, citizens, and animals. Rome's road system was highly advanced. Main streets were paved with large stone slabs, while side streets were more modest. Milestones marked distances, and a network of bridges allowed the city to expand across the Tiber. These roads connected the urban core with surrounding provinces, ensuring a constant flow of goods and people. Public transportation, though primitive compared to today, existed in the form of carriages for hire and river transport. The Tiber itself was a lifeline for trade, allowing large shipments of grain, wine, and other essentials to enter the city efficiently. Even in the crowded streets, organization existed. Forums served as central hubs where citizens could gather. Markets were strategically placed, and public squares allowed movement and social interaction to occur simultaneously. The city was chaotic, but it was a functioning organism. Life in the insulae was challenging. Families often lived in single rooms, sharing kitchens and latrines. Fires were a constant hazard, sometimes consuming entire blocks. Despite these challenges, these buildings were essential for accommodating the city's vast population. The wealthy enjoyed private gardens, fountains, and spacious dining rooms. Villas offered luxury and privacy, while patronage of public works allowed elites to demonstrate their status. Social hierarchy was visible on every street. Slaves performed manual labor, artisans honed their crafts, merchants conducted trade, and senators and officials traversed the city in grand processions. Life in Rome was a tapestry of interwoven classes, each dependent on the other for the city to thrive. The distinction between rich and poor was stark, but the city's design enabled coexistence. Public baths, theaters, and festivals provided spaces where citizens of all classes could interact, creating a shared urban culture despite social stratification. Food was both sustenance and spectacle in Rome. Markets sold bread, fruits, vegetables, cheese, and wine. Exotic imports reflected the empire's reach. Dates from North Africa, spices from India, and fish sauces from the Mediterranean. Bakers, butchers, fishmongers, and street vendors animated the city. Trade was the lifeblood of daily life. Grain distribution, known as annona, provided free or subsidized bread for citizens, maintaining social stability and urban order. Commerce was facilitated by currency. Coins of silver and bronze exchanged daily. Banking, loans, and trade networks existed even in ancient times, demonstrating the economic sophistication necessary to sustain a city of 1 million people. Public spaces were central to Roman life. Forums were not only commercial centers, but venues for political debate and socialization. Temples and religious sites punctuated the urban landscape, reminding citizens of their spiritual duties. Amphitheaters like the Colosseum hosted spectacles that entertained, educated, and controlled the population. Chariot races, theatrical performances, and gladiatorial contests offered excitement and cultural cohesion. Bathhouses provided leisure, hygiene, and socialization. Gymnasiums and palaestri encouraged physical fitness, while gardens and promenades offered spaces for reflection and respite from the city's intensity. Rome's urban planning reflected balance. Commerce, governance, entertainment, and domestic life all coexisted, creating a city that was functional, dynamic, and alive. Infrastructure defined daily life. Water flowed continuously through aqueducts, supplying baths, fountains, and households. Sewers drained waste efficiently. Roads connected neighborhoods and provinces. Even lighting was considered. Oil lamps and torches illuminated streets at night, making the city navigable after dark. Citizens relied on these systems for survival and comfort. Maintenance was constant. Engineers, laborers, and administrators worked tirelessly to keep Rome functioning. This attention to infrastructure allowed a city of over 1 million people to coexist and thrive. Life in Rome was not without hardship. Fires, disease, overcrowding, and political unrest were constant threats. Slum areas were dangerous, and sanitation, while advanced, could not prevent all illness. Yet the city adapted. Regulations were implemented, fire brigades existed, and aqueducts and sewers were maintained. Festivals, public entertainment, and religious rituals offered psychological relief, creating resilience in the urban population. Rome was more than a city. It was a blueprint for civilization. Its infrastructure, urban planning, and social organization influenced generations of cities that followed. Walking through the ruins today, we see the foundations of modern urban life. Roads, aqueducts, and forums echo in contemporary cities. The ambition and ingenuity that created Rome's megacity continue to inspire architects, planners, and engineers. Ancient Rome reminds us that human creativity, ingenuity, and determination can overcome immense challenges. From crowded streets to monumental architecture, It was the original megacity, a city of a million lives, interconnected, interdependent, and unforgettable. Thank you for joining us on this journey into ancient Rome, a city of people, power, and innovation. A city that shaped the world. From its streets to its aqueducts, Rome remains a testament to the extraordinary potential of human civilization.